Welcome back, everybody, to Shapes in the Dark. We last left our troop of rogues in the hall of Lady Adra. She's one of the vampire mistresses that you've come to know that she sees over at least this stretch of land. Maybe like a more. You've only interacted with one village in particular, but you assume this is her fiefdom, and there's multiple villages here that she presides over, and you've come to know that she's more caring and possibly matron-like, as opposed to like overlord and taskmaster. But in your current horrible predicament that you find yourselves in indirect thraldom, it's hardly the story what you're feeling right now. You last witnessed the rather bloody murder of a pet, one of Lady Adras's thralls, and then one of her henchmen, Tenelok, actually slew him before your eyes. Once, just that instance before, Tane had not necessarily fallen, but he's taken the corruption and the darkness of such an act a little too close to heart. And we will pick up the scene as the stage curtains open just moments after Ormond's body falls to the floor. Amorous Thorn, would you describe your character for us?
All right, so the Dawn Fae standing there, seeing this guy getting cleaved nearly in two, and a little bit above 5 feet tall, slender enough build. His black hair kind of just trails down toward his back, and his golden skin probably almost glistens a little bit in the light inside the hall here. His blue eyes kind of narrow as you see the slightest beginning of a smirk come across his lips as Oromon, I think his mind's eye got what was coming to him, since he still feels like, they were duped, deceived, and ultimately fucked over. So, yeah, he's standing there, arms crossed, kind of just smirking a little bit and waiting to see what's going to happen next.
Fernaleus, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, Fernaleus, earlier he had been a bit shaken by some of the goings on here in the court, but the death of Ormond, he seemed to take it in stride. In fact, the look in his face, for those paying close attention, may have actually showed a hint of satisfaction, maybe even pleasure from that. He stands just shy of 6 feet tall. His skin, alabaster white, has taken a slightly darker shade, if you can call it that, because of his time in the traveling and such over the past few chains. He wears a black robe of an odd cut, very loose fitting, with a cloak over it and a deep hood, from which his amber eyes stare out. The amber, of course, occasionally catching the light just right and reflecting it in red. He looks on at this body laying there, and he feels in his self the hunger that his father's blood gives him when he sees blood, and he has learned to control over the years. But recently, that seems to have been more and more of the thing that comes to the surface, especially around these odd creatures that are so much like his father. That he finds himself oddly attracted to them, at the same time repulsed, because he sees the effects of his friends, especially Tane, who as he notices him now looking a bit more haggard than normal. The look of concern comes over his face, along with the the pleasure. He definitely has a torn spirit right now.
Tane, describe yourself as well as the depths of your sickness thus far.
So Tane is a Geet, a man about 5'8". He is currently standing there, sort of. His head is swimming, and he's looking down at his hands. His usually pale skin for what a Geet is. He's just looking at his palms, who seem darker than normal. And as we settle on his face, his eyes, which are normally dark, have actually spread out in a little bit. If you look closely, it's almost like the blackness is spreading around his eyes. And as he turns his hands over, he realizes that his fingernails have turned black as well. And he kind of squints his eyes, his reddish beard kind of twitching, his mustache. And he feels an ache in his chest. And he remembers the story of Tryggvi telling him how the spirit is crying out when the shadow takes hold. Some believe that it's dying, but no, it's actually transforming. You're becoming one with the evil. And he bites his lip so hard, he draws blood, and it just kind of a little bit sort of wettens, and his lips become red. Absent-mindedly, he's not even thinking about it, as he looks around and says, "Are we done here?"
Lady Adra, at this time, she's plucked a small handkerchief from the cleavage of her dress, and she's cleaning a bit of blood from her lower lip in the corner of her mouth, and she turns away from you two, actually from the group there, and she could just kind of murmurs back to you. I grow weary this day, and the sun will come up soon. I should be to my chambers. She turns to Tenelok, and she says, make sure that our guests have everything that they need. I will come and speak to them soon. Tenelok just nods, and he just kind of like looks at her, looks back at you three, looks back at her, and says, I don't think I can give them everything that they need or want. And Tenelok just kind of like shoots you three kind of like a knowing, like, yeah, look, like, shit, I know exactly what you're about to ask. And I think Adra goes, yeah, well, yes, just make, see to it that the needs that we can currently provide them with are met. And then she takes a few steps in the direction of a door, and she turns back to you three. She goes, I apologize for the horrible things that have been done to you. And she leaves.
But we're not finished yet. As she walks out, I kind of mutter, the horribleness is not done yet.
I tend to agree with you, Tane. But the way he says it, it's almost like he's anticipating more horribleness, but it's hard to say.
When it rains, it pours, right? Tenelok looks over to you three as he puts on. You see him put on like a leather glove, and he actually rests the ebon and gold blade of his sword in the gloved hand as he goes back into another pocket, gets out a small cloth, and he starts to actually clean the gore from it. He says, well, gentlemen, it would seem that we have been thrust into this predicament. He just lets his red eyes fall on the three of you with each word.
You'll notice that Fernleus is once again staring intently at that blade. He'd seen it before, the one time before where he'd met him out beyond the village. But of course, the lighting wasn't great then. Now, with better lighting, and you can see the highlights a bit better. His mind is sort of it is going, I guess, 1,000 miles an hour, thinking about how that kind of an alloy could get here. And the only place he ever heard of it was in back, in the land of the sands across the sea.
Just Tenelok just looks up and he's waiting for you three to reply. He says, the fates are just not kind to us, I suppose.
No,
Or
they're not.
not to you three.
How do we commission one of those blades?
Yes, how do you commission one of those?
That would seem appropriate, right?
And the vampire looks at the war sword in his hands, and he looks at you three. He looks back at his weapon and says, well, that would require a level of trust, which clearly we cannot trust each other at this time.
It's very understandable. Still, I would love to hear the tale of that blade. That had to have come a long way.
Not so long. Ebon is, it depends on where you look, it can be quite plentiful in certain hills, and gold is as rare as it can be. It is simply an alloy of both.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. It's just I didn't believe the knowledge to forge them had come this far.
From far from where?
Well, from my understanding, the secret of forging those two together was something the Yethites had developed at some point.
Well, of course, the desert dwellers know. That does not mean that they're the only ones who know.
Very interesting.
Many demons find the ore of gold to be rather abhorrent, and it lights them in a blaze.
Fernleus almost absentmindedly pulls out one of his wax tablets, opens it up, closes it, puts it back, pulls it over, opens it up. Down at the very bottom, he pulls out his stylus and starts taking a quick set of notes. The first one was full. By chance, as he's doing this, by chance, do you not have paper and ink here somewhere?
We have plenty. We also have this strange sorcery called books.
Yes. Ooh, books. At that, he sort of eyes finally said, "Yes, books." He sort of looks up at that.
Drugs, books, drugs.
I would very much like to see books. These books, yes.
Well, I should show you to some lodgings, and you can likely countenance our library later.
I understand. Do these lodgings by chance have some place to bathe?
They can be.
I would very much appreciate that. And he gets a look on his face of just pure anticipation of being clean.
Tenok looks down at his. He's still kind of filthy from that tussle with the ragman out in the field. So he's kind of now that you mention a bath, if his vampire skin could crawl, it certainly would.
That's good. You're getting some color back on your skin.
Just kind of retches. Just wipes some of the dirt off, just leaving it there on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, come along, you three. Actually leads you out of the keep, back down into the town, and you get the feeling that the village folk here are used to seeing a vampire amongst them, so they just simply they pay Tenelok no mind, aside from getting the hell out of his way when he walks by. He brings you to an inn called the Wretched Crow. Its livery up top is it's a carved wooden black bird that's got like the black paint that's with age is flaking off of it, and it's only hanging from one of its two hooks up top, so it's kind of like turning in the wind. He goes, "This is, well, it's not a ditch, and you will have your individual rooms. And I have already told them that you require a bit of security, so you'll have a nice locked door." He gives you a kind of a sly wink. Make sure the beds are clean.
Wonderful.
Mostly.
Well, they don't have mites and fleas in them, if that's what you're meaning.
Yes, that's precisely what I mean. Do they serve meals here by chance?
They will. As I stated, and as the mistress has stated, your needs will be met.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The very least that she could do.
As Fernley sort of proceeds into the door, he looks and says, "They have a laundry lass. My robes could definitely use a bit of attention." And he reaches down to his purse, which is pitifully hanging there somewhat limply with just a couple of small coins in there. And he sort of sighs and says, "I don't quite have enough here to purchase new garments, I don't believe."
That I am not aware of. You may have to ask. I will come for you sometime this evening or sometime in the middle of the night.
That would make sense. Yes. Fernley, he's looking around. He sort of seems almost distracted at the moment.
I would imagine you're ready to trundle off because the sun is coming up.
The sun doesn't it doesn't hold sway over me like most vampires do. I know how to move around when the sun is up. He just kind of gives you a look that says a lot more than he's letting on.
It's not as transparent as his skin.
No, of course not.
Amorous, I think Fern is turning into a woman. He needs a bath and needs his... Next, he's going to get his nails cleaned and...
Good idea, Tane. Yes, I'll need something to clean my nails with. I mean, I can use my stylus if I have to with the wax. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That's what Iblis's people say.
Tenelok is already gone at this point.
Who says that?
The followers of Iblis.
Oh,
It's one of the tenets of the faith is keep one clean in body and spirit.
lesser God.
Mm.
It depends on where you're at. So, Biblos does not take offense at other deities looking down upon him because he knows those other deities' transgressions and slights and such are only jealousy.
Almost goes looking for a drink.
Well, there is alcohol inside. You can smell it out here.
I think I need one too. Probably the whole pitcher or the keg.
Cake
So
sounds good right about now.
I'm going to follow Amorous into the.
Um,
Where are you getting that bath?
I'm going to ask about it actually now. He looks over to, is there like a person that's obviously like the innkeeper or
Yeah, there's an innkeep. There's actually a couple people, couple waitresses there inside cleaning tables. The place is about maybe like 12.5 people in there. It seats about 40. There, you can actually get a bath for a couple copper and have your stuff laundered as well for an additional copper.
okay.
Drinks, however, they know that you're coming. Strangely enough, they know that you're coming, and they have a couple mugs and a pitcher out on like the corner of the bar. It kind of makes this wraparound L shape. And as soon as the tavern keeper sees you coming in, he just points to the corner.
Okay. I'll proceed over there. I'll mention that the idea of a bath later and possibly some laundering and fish out my last 3 copper.
Was that it, Keith?
That's all I had left.
Almost will actually put your hand down, and he'll look over at the barkeep and he'll pull out one of those platinum coins that Farad actually gave him. So look at the barkeep. You can say, does this have as much worth as I think this coin would have in other parts of the world?
Should
have.
All right, here, actually, let me get that up for you. Oh, wait, shit. Here we go.
Or rather, he will say, how much is this worth?
The barkeep just kind of looks at you, kind of gets this wide-eyed look on his face, and he goes, "That'll be enough," and just holds his hand out.
Just
Premonition
keep
check
them
real quick.
coming. Rounds for the bar. I don't give a damn right now. Just give me a drink.
It's a 22 on a premonition. Is this guy like, when he says enough, is it like enough for the night or enough for whenever?
Well, you got 22?
Yes.
Well, that might last you a few days.
Okay. Still. Okay.
So yeah, when he says enough, he means
Okay.
it. Damn it.
Excellent. So in that case, yes, have a bath drawn for me, and I'll let me know when that's done. I'll sit with my friends here and drink, and then he looks over and says, "Gentlemen, I think after that I'll be going up and cleaning myself and getting my clothing clean." So he looks at the road grime on his like the hem of his robe is probably coated with mud and such from the road. The edges probably is too, and then dust, of course. He probably hits himself in the chest and dust puffs off. So
Just plumes of just disgusting.
but he'll sit down for now and actually pour from the pitcher into the 3 cups.
Okay. You guys, the floor is yours, really. You're gonna have a little bit of downtime before nightfall comes, and Farad comes. Yeah, Farad will come back and try and get you guys. No, I mean before your contact. Thanks, Mike.
Bring it.
Get him.
He
No,
won't even hesitate. That fucker walks through the door, he's getting a knife thrown at him while he's taking a drink.
Yes. Yeah. So, so for the last, he'll take a drink and take a deep breath. And he'll lean forward and he'll look over at Tane and say, Tane, are you okay? I actually look of concern on his face.
What?
You
What's
look a
wrong
bit-
with me?
You look a bit, I'm not sure how to say it.
Hmm.
It's only a,
I look a
I
bit
don't know
fucked.
where. You look a bit ill, my friend.
Hmm. I can feel it too. It's right about in the pit of my stomach. It feels as though I've just ingested the blood that she just drank.
The look on Fernandez's face when you say that, just for a second, you get a flash of almost a smile across his face. Just basically his mouth just twitches a bit, and he sort of stills himself and he says, "I understand. Maybe you should take a bath as well. I'm not sure if that would help. I know many cultures believe that bathing is a cleansing ritual."
That's very thoughtful of you. I might think of it after a couple of these pictures. I think the worst part about it is that the burning in my limbs. It feels as though my spirit is literally trying to rip itself free from my body.
Fernandez will do something he doesn't really do because he doesn't really touch much. He'll reach out and actually take Tane's hand and look at his hand and sort of turn it over and examine it. We'll do a lore test real quick.
You don't need to roll for
Okay.
it. His
All right.
his fingertips are black. He's tainted.
Okay, yeah,
And
Fern
if
attack.
you'll allow it, it's also extremely warm to the touch. And
Okay,
even though he feels like you can kind of tell he looks like he's cold.
I don't know much about the medical things and the apothecary's arts, but you feel a bit warm to me, Tane.
Feel like shit.
Maybe some food that might help you. He'll
Yeah.
he'll wave over to one of the serving glasses and say, "Bring us a meal, something good and warm for my friend especially."
Yeah,
So-
they'll whip you anything up
Okay.
really.
At this moment, they're like beck and call type of idea, probably. Oh crap, they need something.
Right, yeah. That's two of these gals will act. Two of the three, we will say. He has a staff of three ladies. Will be at your beck and call, and your glasses will not be more than half empty the
Okay.
entire night.
I'll also mention that if possible, if I could have a little. I mentioned that I have very special dietary needs. Well, around here, not as special. But
They've already taken care of that. You have
okay,
they've that pitcher
okay.
has blood in it.
Oh, I will then instruct them that my two friends do not require that. Only myself.
Ah, well,
So
okay.
I do apologize,
They'll
gentlemen.
bring out a growler then, really, of the rest. Or it would probably be a growler for the Bronze Age folk.
Oh yeah. So probably a tun maybe.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, there you go.
That's what I'm. Thank you.
Yeah, nice big jar. So as she walks away after that, I'll lean forward and say, "So we find ourselves in a predicament here. What do you two think? We bide our time here, or do we try to push on? I personally would like to have Farad's head upon a stick. Not a pointy one either. I want to actually blunt him to jab it in there."
I'd like to help with that, yes. As he takes the mug and he just downs it and then reaches for the pitcher.
Oh, hold on, Tang. Here, he make sure he has the right one that doesn't have the. This is for me. That was for you.
It actually
don't want
kind
us
of
to-
sounds like he's being greedy. This is my picture.
Well, it's
Yeah, because the rest of you don't know that the pitcher has that has blood in it. That she hasn't brought the growler back out yet.
oh yeah.
It's just a little salty.
It is. It has a bit of a tang, but it's not something that I know you tend to not eat meat, and that pitcher would violate that. So it is specifically wine that has been mixed for my particular dietary needs, if you know what I mean. So
It's now she comes out with the ton and actually sets it on the table in front of Tane.
there, yes.
She just kind of pats it. Here you go. She walks off.
He just kind of leans forward and he just kind of pulls it in like he's hugging and starts unscrewing the top of it.
It's mine now.
That's fine.
And he just leans back with the jug hand. You know how you hold it sort of funny in your
Don,
hand?
I think we're gonna need a second one of those. She took all mine.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll point
Comes
at
out
him
with
and
a
then
third.
point at him with the whole angled finger, that you signal to a server that someone else needs something else. Yeah. And
She comes out with another one, sets it in front of Thorn.
And Fernley sort of sits back and sips his drink a bit. And he says, "Oh, and by the way, when I jam that stick into his head, I don't want to have his body separated yet." So,
As soon as you guys start drinking, I'm going to need conditioning tests, by the way.
okay. Have training for this. Oh.
Or unless you wish to fail and actually become
no.
inebriated.
Conditioning, that is a 26 for me.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So-
Fine.
Roll a data exploded.
We don't have to talk about Fernaleus for a while.
So he says, but he's going to nurse his drink a bit too. Anyway, he's not actually thinking about getting drunk. He's more dreaming about the hot bath than anything else. But he sits back a bit. He says, this Lady Adra seems to be at least reasonable. I mean, comparatively, she didn't leave us abandoned on a hillside somewhere. So
Reasonable.
Well, effectively. I mean, have you seen what happens when someone in Fellport crosses the Overseer? I mean, it's at least that bad. So
I don't think I've had the pleasure.
It's not really a pleasure, but there are some crimes that call for a public execution. So, but that was, I mean, I can see how that could be a bit gruesome.
Thorn is actually doing this with the express thing of getting sloshed. Like,
oh, well, if that's the case, then if you're going to be necking glasses,
yeah.
Catholic.
He's not playing. He's not flirting. He's not trying to bet anyone or get any, appeal from a crowd. He is just going to drink.
Where is Mike, and what have you done with my bard friend? I don't know.
Songbird has been silenced, remember?
Get out of my channel. this isn't Mike anymore.
They took our characters and warped our souls.
Yep. Anyway.
Speaking of warped souls, as I notice these guys are looking like they're going to be eating and drinking quite a bit.
Yep.
I'm going to grab a serving glass as she goes by and say, "Bring us some bread and cheese, please."
Okay.
So just to begin with. A little something on your stomachs, basically.
Okay. You guys, it's up to you how long you guys stay down here and how long you decide to be drinking. And
I do mention that
plotting.
I do mention that we're probably going to be summoned back to the castle at some time in the night, so we'll probably get some rest at some time.
Well.
So, but yeah, so we know at this point, he sort of leans forward and sort of puts his elbows on the table and leans forward conspiratorially. He says, so we know one thing, at least. We know this Lady Adra and Farad are not currently allies.
No.
So it might be quite easy for us to maybe get some assistance in dealing with Farad, at least getting our due from the man, if man can even be called. But I think we need to gather a little more information about what the political landscape is like around here. Is it just the two of them, or are they two of many? Do they have overlords?
Quite the network going. We have multiple overlords, it appears, and
Seems to be. Possibly like petty kings, maybe ruling over towns here and there, with the surrounding villages possibly owing fealty to one or another, or many. And for all we know, that one villager dropped off may owe fealty to multiple lords. Whoever happens to come calling is the one that they give the homage to at the time. So, I think, and this may be an obvious statement, but I want to make sure it's out there, make sure we're all thinking the same way. I believe Tenelok is Edra's enforcer. Does that seem to be the case to you two? Or do you think he's made an executioner, or a reeve of some type, maybe? I mean, I don't see him as being like a minor noble under her service, because no minor noble would not be given the servant's task of taking guests to be placed somewhere comfortable. But a reeve, possibly.
seems to serve a purpose of an underling. You're right. A warrior in some cases, and possibly a bedfellow based on his appearance, and like suckling at the infinitely flowing moon womb, if you will.
Well, I am living proof that the vampires do have bedfellows, at least from time to time. For me, I believe I'm going to play nice, as it were, bide my time and gather as much information as I can. But at the same time, I think we should be maybe putting our own little network together. I look over at Thorn. I see my friend. I know you tend to, when you go from town to town, tend to play your music and wind up betting as many young ladies as you can. Young ladies talk, don't they?
Yes. And the person who can talk the most but is never asked is that one right over there. And he will point to one of the barmaids.
It seems that you have found your task for the evening, I believe, Thorn, huh? Pumping her for information, is that the proper term?
All right, I guess I'll take one for the team.
I admire your sacrifice. And Fernley sort of smiles over his cup as he takes a sip.
He's so heartbroken. I can see it in your eyes.
Just kills me right here.
Right. So even if we were able to approach this Farad, well, what is Tenelok even going to be coming? What are we doing?
I'm not sure. As I said, I think we might need to get them on our side in this situation. But it did seem to see that Adra was a bit miffed at Farad. We might be able to play on that. Tenelok being her man, we might be able to send him out as a attack dog, if as you will, if we're able to maybe give them as much information as came out for Rod. They might be able to goad them into it. What was that woman's name? He snaps his fingers a couple times and he says, Ophira. Can we call her the lady on the ship?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spoken. That might be someone to ask Tenlock about.
Yeah, that might be Farad's Aedra.
Could be.
Which is interesting and goes even further to speak to the relationships between, it seems as though they're not always enemies, or they make short alliances for certain reasons.
They may.
To fuck Mortar's lives up, I guess.
Yeah.
He kind of burps.
He's Fernlea sort of smiles. He says, yes, the longer-lived beings tend to do that for sport sometimes. I've seen it among my own people. I'm sure Thorn has seen it among his people as well. Those who get a kick from messing with what they may consider to be lessers. So, not that I consider either of you lessers, Fern says. But if we can figure out these games they play, if they are games, we might be able to either begin one or at least find out if we're already on the board possibly or not. We could have been left in this location so close to Aedra's domain specifically to incite a reaction from her, or possibly maybe hoping that Tenlock himself would find us and dispatch us with a less than noble ending, if you will.
Valid.
So yes, I believe I'm going to be try to be what's the term? I will try to be the man at court, if you will, asking questions. Obviously, being a scholar, hopefully they'll see that as harmless, and the fact that I'm possibly going to be just running it down for posterity or whatnot. But feel free to ask. I mean, if you ask questions, if you have any ideas of where you think we may need to proceed from here. I'm just a poor scholar. I'm not really.
I am noticing that my tongue is not as honeyed as normal, and that's not a lot to begin with. I am. He's being conscious of the fact that he's realizing that maybe in character you're hearing Tane speak more raspy and sort of clearing his throat more often, or kind of coughing, or just not
the clean and clear tones we're used to hearing from him.
Right.
And Fern takes a moment and takes a long pull from his glass, sets it down, pours another bit in there, takes another sip from it. He says, I want to offer my apologies. I know I was very eager to come on this expedition to learn, and I've learned quite a bit, but I'm afraid that some of that knowledge may have come at the price of, and he sort of looks down at Thorn's leg, or right to the table towards Thorn's leg, at a price some of us may not be comfortable paying. And I do feel very horrible about that. And one of my goals will be to find out as much about those as we can and their removal, if at all possible.
I've already told you
We all
that,
agreed to this. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Tane.
You took the word right out of my mouth, because the alcohol is soothing me. Yes. We all agreed to it, but you're still a cunt.
Mm.
A likable cunt, but
Fernandez sort of closes his eyes, and for a moment, it looks like he might actually be a bit distraught. But then he starts shaking a bit, and you realize he's actually laughing. And he says, "That takes such weight off my shoulders, my friends. But still, I'll make it my duty to discover all I can about these shackles."
the shackles, the loss of our items.
Are there any games going on in this bar?
Nope.
Damn it.
Not at all. It's there's quite a bit of melancholy here. No one really wants to get into it.
Fern leans back and reaches into his pouch and pulls out a very flat packet. He opens it up and sprinkles the last little bit of his tobacco into his pipe. Counts it down a bit. Walks over to the fireplace and grabs a twig and lights it, and goes and sits back at the table again. He takes a puff off of this stale tobacco and sort of grimaces a little bit. Let's have this light cough as he breathes out. He says, "I hope they have tobacco here, or at least something that's passable, similar."
One of the ladies overhears you and brings you a what would kind of pass as like a humidor for tobacco. It's
Okay.
basically a little coffer that you open up, and it's just got loose
Okay.
in there.
Tobacco box. Okay.
Yep.
He opens it up, takes the there's probably a pair of little tongs that go along with it. He'll refill his pouch from it. And he'll say, "Thank you very much," as he closes it back up and pushes it toward her. And he adds a bit more of that to his pipe and lights that up again and takes a deep breath and says, "It's much better, much smoother."
She'll go and leave this tobacco box on the table that you guys have kind of claimed.
Okay.
So on the bright side, out of all the bullshit Farad has put us through, at least something came good from him. I pulled up the last platinum coin I have. At least something fucking came good from that damn guy.
Fernandez looks over and sort of puts his hands on Thorn's hand and pushes that down and says, "I wouldn't flash that around too much. Just in case." So he looks around does a quick look around the room. Would it be a
Awareness.
awareness? Okay. That or streetwise. So, okay. He for his awareness, he gets a 10. So he probably just isn't as familiar with local customs yet to be able to get a potential cut purse. But
Well, you do see somebody, what looks to be probably another ranger or an outrider of some kind, sitting off to the side, and he's taking notes in a rather extensive-looking journal. I think it's more like a tome, like so. And he's got papers all about, and a fey iron, a long, slender fey iron dagger kind of like stuck into the table that he's just kind of like playing with, manipulating in kind of like circles with his index finger. He's got papers and he's got inkwells and ink pen.
I think to myself, I need some of those.
But when Thorn does flash his fucking money around, you did catch that this individual was eyeballing that coinage.
Okay.
Thorn obviously no longer has a fuck to give type mindset.
Right?
He also gave the other plat to pay for the bar the drink, and even told that to the barkeep, like round for the house. So.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's very pleased with you.
Yes, so at least where he is from and what he knows, you buy drinks for a bar, ain't no one gonna fuck with you out of that bar, because if someone goes to fuck with you, the whole bar is gonna fuck with them.
Yeah, right. Of course. But yes, I mean these poor
Still.
gals are very very busy getting drinks out to everybody because it just keeps flowing. Whatever that wine cellar is in the basement is very well stocked, from what you understand.
I'll the next time one of the young ladies comes over, hopefully bring our bread and cheese. I'll ask her. I'll say, "Who's that fellow over there with the journal? Do you know?"
Uh, I don't know him. He's new here. He's only been here just a few days.
Thank you. So, have you heard any rumors about him by chance?
Oh, he's not a vampire.
No.
He's not a vampire either.
Yeah, can we see a visible shackle on him, or is he like wearing boots that are covering it possibly?
He is wearing kind of well-worn leathern sandals.
Mhm.
That actually, you know what? I'm gonna need an awareness test from you for that one.
Okay.
Very, very, very good question, Keith. Very, very good question.
Well, I got that from a friend, just so you know.
Right.
Awareness on that one is going to be a 14.
Okay. All right. Hang on here. He's got what looks to be like kind of like wolf pelts that are kind of like underneath think of the wolf pelts are actually wrapped around his feet and then put the sandal on, and the leather straps are keeping it, so they're
Leggings.
boots, leggings.
Okay.
And from what you understand, everyone who has pants or boots will have a bulge where their anklet is. On you guys, it's on your left ankle. He doesn't have either one, right or left.
Okay. I'll look at my companions and say, "Can you two? Will you be okay for a few moments? I want to go over and talk to this fellow."
Also, Keith, you did catch like when he like readjusts in his chair, kind of like his cloak kind of like falls open, and you see a Fey iron whip.
Ah, okay.
And he
Interesting.
as soon as the light hits that, he just kind of like hides it again.
Okay.
Intentional? Unintentional? Hard to tell when you're drinking.
Premonition roll?
Sure.
Premonition roll? So, okay, that one is a 17.
What are you trying to divine here?
I'm trying to divine if this guy is, let me see, if he's maybe was maybe trying to either try to be intimidating by flashing that, or if it was an accidental oops and he covers it very quickly because he's not supposed to have it type thing.
You think it was genuinely accidental, like he gets more comfortable in this bench, and then like his clothes had to be readjusted.
I'll be
because
right
not
back, Jim.
you don't assume that he's noticed you, or if he has, he's made no motions.
I'll be right back, gentlemen. I'm gonna walk over here and speak to this fellow. I'll pour myself one more cup and leave the pitcher there on the table and take
As
my
he's
cup.
getting up, I say, make sure you wash your ass too.
I will as soon as it's ready. They have to boil the water and such.
Oh, I thought you were bathing.
I will be. Yes, they have to boil the water, make it warm. So a true bath is not the stream, Tane. I understand. A bath is, or you take a bath among the showers from the sky or in a stream, and that's extremely cold. And I don't like cold. I like warm. So, with that, he sort of also muttered, I think a little perfume too, actually. As he stands up and walks over toward this fellow.
Did he just fucking say perfume?
He is becoming a woman.
He's very much foppish.
Used to the finer things. I'll walk. I'm not going to like dart over there to the guy. I'm going to walk sort of slowly so that he actually can see me coming. And when I get within, so like a step or so of the table, I'll stop and I'll say, I'll ask him, "Are you by chance a scholar as well?"
After a fashion.
Right. So am I. Name's Fernleus. May I by chance sit?
You may not.
Uh,
He doesn't look up from what he's doing. He's taking some notes.
okay.
He's got, like, you're looking at his journal right here,
Mhm.
and he's got a diagram
Mhm.
of the inside of some horrible monstrosity, like a vivisectionist might have.
Do an academics check to see if I actually understand any of it. Uh-huh.
Oh,
That is going to be a 26 altogether.
that is a diagram of the innards of a Leshen.
Oh, okay. I'll
You've
tilt my
never
head.
seen one. You've
No,
heard of them before.
I've heard of them. I tilt my head and say, "Is this diagram of a lesson from experience, or did you get it from a source somewhere?"
He stops what he's doing. He puts his pen down. He finally looks up at you and says, "Are you looking to hire?"
Possibly. It depends on what one would be hired to do.
He just stares at you.
Okay.
His
I'll look around a
cold
bit.
gray eyes just waiting for you. Not said enough for him. He's still.
Yeah, I'll look around a bit to make sure no one's like within earshot close by. I'll lean forward and quite quietly and say, "We're no friends of the overlords here, but
Nor am I.
we recently arrived here and found ourselves." He sort of looks down toward his ankle. And he says, "Bound, and you seem to be free of such burdens." And I was wanting my friend, especially over there, I sort of motions my head back toward Tate and Thorn, would very much like to understand how they may once again be unburdened by such.
Well, I can't do that for you.
But it's like, do you know who may?
Not yet.
Fernleus thinks for a few moments here, and he says, "Well, I offer an exchange."
I'm
You
not
seem-
cheap.
No, I understand. I'm not rich. But I do see that you have a extensive journal there that needs to be filled with information, yes? And you seem to be,
He closes the journal now that he knows that you've been snooping.
well, it's back on the table. And he says, "I did not mean to pry, but as a scholar myself, I understand how valuable knowledge can be. I'm willing to at least exchange knowledge with you if you would be interested in that. Things you've discovered, things you've uncovered, and possibly things you may uncover in the future."
He takes his hood off, and you see now the full countenance of this individual. Keith, by all the gods and goddesses of the heavens and the underworld, he's from Sir Kelsa. You've heard of a group of individuals who are a cross between the native Ebon folk of the Ebon Vale and the Pharaonic people of Thorana,
Okay.
and he's a beautiful mix of those two cultures.
Okay.
Specifically
Okay.
from this island.
That will definitely take Fernley back just a bit. He'll sort of, his eyes will get a bit wide and says, "Oh, you've traveled far." But what may I call you? Very specifically, not asking for his name, but what may I call him?
I don't give out that information to just anyone I meet in a tavern. However, you can refer to me as a knife in the dark should you wish to.
Okay.
And it's at this time it dawns on you that he does have a Yathite accent to him.
Okay. Oh, well, with that, then I'll sort of look around then, and I'll say in Yathite, then if it would be okay with you, I will just call you Knife. Would that be acceptable?
He replies in the Yathite tongue. I can accept that.
Well, thank you, Knife, for sharing that with me. It is getting quite uncomfortable just sort of standing here. I look around at the people who are sort of staring.
Your other companions are now staring at you like, the
I'm sure
fuck
they
is
are.
this foreigner over there?
We will be here for at least a few days, at the minimum.
I'm aware.
And we
You
have
sup with vampires.
he sort of breathes and says, "Not entirely by choice."
No one does that by choice in these lands.
I've noticed. But I don't, would it be of value to you to have information from within, I'm motion toward the citadel, from within the castle? Information about who's there, what they do, or any information you would like to find out?
Where, He actually stops himself. He goes, "What's your price?"
Just as I said, in exchange of information. If you know of any way to remove these shackles, and if you know a way to escape these lands, maybe a port nearby with a ship that occasionally sails or whatnot, I think that would be of more worth to us than any amount of gold or silver.
He doesn't even flinch at the offer of money. These things are. You would offer me dust from the earth. These are of no consequence.
What would you then consider per payment?
A favor
Favor.
that I can cash in at my own time.
Fernless thinks for a moment, and of course, even though his friends have been saying that they came of their own free will, he still has that bit of guilt in the back of his mind. And he says, I can offer that for myself, but I cannot speak to my friends."
It's at this time your companions will actually see that this pharaonic individual just kind of peer around you.
And Tane is actually talking to Amorous at that point, saying, "Have you ever heard the phrase, when you ride a horse, it's like flying?" Why is he looking
never
at?
heard that one.
Why is he looking at us? I kind of point over on. I thought he was getting a bath and his ass washed.
I look back at the two of them. And
I
see
bet
what's
you
going
Silver
on.
he's roping us into something again.
Or trying to.
The foreigner just, he looks down back at his notes and says, "Your companions would not be worth the time. Be off with you."
I wish you would reconsider, but I understand. I mean, a person of your knowledge and obvious experience probably looks at us and thinks we're just, lost travelers, which we are.
As he turn, oh, I'm sorry, Keith, go for it.
He sort of lets his hood drop, which has sort of been hanging there. He has those big ass puppy dog eyes. He says, I understand that you cannot help us. And he turns. So would this by chance be a place where I could possibly use, say, allure a little bit in trying to invoke a compassion?
I'd allow it. Sure.
Because it's definitely not fake. So, okay. That's going to be a 19.
He is unfazed by you.
Okay, I'll walk back toward my friend, sort of that defeated look as I go, and I sit down and I say, well, that's one I think will have to be worked on a little harder. But I think he may know a few things. And I'll sort of lean forward and sort of conspiratorially say he has a diagram of Leshen in his book that has been vivisected.
Kane knows what a Leshen is.
And
He knows all about that shit.
He seems to be drawing it from experience.
Did you say Dave knows?
Tane knows. He's probably grew up on stories of Leshen on your granddad's or your uncle's knee, really.
They're foul creatures, not to be trifled with.
One to have the knowledge he seems to have with the detail he had in that sketch, he would have had to have seen it firsthand. That isn't something you get from a book.
What sort of things did you discuss?
Just seeing if he happened to know any way to, say, a nearby port with sailings, things of that nature. I offered him a favor for information, possibly. But he apparently did not choose to agree to such. But I tried.
Well, it's a commonality. My ancestors fought Leshens. Maybe there's some worth to him.
Could be. I think, though, if we have something that might interest him, information or maybe some secrets that we could possibly pass along, he might be more interested in speaking with us. I think he'd be an interesting ally to have. And being the fact that, this I hadn't mentioned before, that he does not have an anklet.
Huh.
He might be willing to part with the information of how his was removed or how he avoided getting it in the first place.
So he did not find your favors favorable?
Well, he looked at the two of you and decided that I wasn't something he wanted to touch. I think he thinks you may have given me the scurvy or something.
Well, I do look quite the sight right now, and Thorn's 3 sheets to the wind, so...
Yeah, I look over at Thorn and said,
Come on, get it right.
I did attempt to, quote, as you put it, take one for the team if need be. Didn't work.
Well, good. You don't have to do that for us.
I will do whatever's needed for my friends. Take a big drink of my drink.
You might want to work on the sales pitch, though, because it doesn't look like it worked.
No, it did not. In fact, I'm a bit put off because typically when my kind offer that kind of a favor, it's, well, rarely turned down. It's possible he may have actually lost certain body parts in fighting those things. I hear that some of those darker things, they prefer certain male body parts as a meal. Written a book somewhere.
Statement? Can I get a lore test on that?
Sure, go for it.
You read it in a book somewhere, in academics. Whether it was true or not,
Don't believe everything you read.
true.
Wow. Okay, 34.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, sure. Says the expert. Yeah. No,
Mm.
no. The professor on such subjects. Now, we're going to advance the evening a few hours, and that pharaonic foreigner, Knife, as we've come to call him, stands. He gathers up his papers, kind of like turns his journal into like a folder. He stuffs them in there, drops it in the bottom of a sack, and kind of cleans up his mess. And he walks over to your table, and he looks at Fern, and it says, "Find out if Farad's people, as well as Adra's people, are actually enemies or not. Or I should say, it's Ophira's people and Adra's. Ophira is Farad's mistress."
Yes. That makes perfect sense now, actually.
Thorn would just start to chuckle when he asks if they're enemies or not, because he's just replaying the scene of Adra getting so pissed off when he found out what Farad did to us.
I can tell you this: the Wildman, the one who went by the name of the Woodsman, the one by the name Ormond, is no more.
I've heard.
Adra was quite cross with him when it was discovered that the three of us had been left upon a hillside some days' walk from here in the middle of nowhere. And some business deal apparently they had together that Farad reneged on, I'm assuming.
Sometimes these vampire fiefdoms will band together and actually go out into the world and find thralls to bring back here as subjects.
They did bring in several female thralls upon his ship along with us.
Well, to
Not
have a
as
healthy
thralls, but
population,
higher.
you must have more women than men.
Yes. One question for you by chance. This is not part of the deal, but it's an interesting note. Apparently, Farad and Ophira have a thing for small children.
I know. There's just a flash of fury in his eyes just for a moment. I know. And then it's just, and then it's gone. It's like it was there.
Premonition on that. That one is going to be a 13. Is that enough to find out? Is that a flash of anger, as in he is morally outraged? Or is it more of like just contempt?
Or is it personal?
Yeah.
He's morally, it's moral contempt is what it is.
Okay. All right. Okay. And yeah,
He
Fern Liz
hides it
nods.
very well.
Okay.
Maybe that is enough to make it. This guy's dangerous. You can
Yes.
draw a perfect circle, kind of like absent-mindedly. Oh, we've got a serial killer on our hands.
Okay. Fern nods a bit, and just that was
What?
disturbing as well.
What wrong did they bring to you?
That's none of your concern.
Pardon me, friend.
I heard that there was 3 individuals who had recently been manacled that were dropped on a hillside near the village of Mentara. He points down the road back
Yes,
to where you guys had come.
that I can confirm that rumor.
So you have us at a
3 might be
disadvantage.
it.
You know more about us than you.
Oh, that's good. We're going to keep it that way. At least here in Miserenes, trust no one. It will lead to a longer life.
Fern sort of nods. I think that is very good advice. But yes, we can ascertain the information that you asked. And will you be in the vicinity for any period of time?
I'll be outside the city once you guys leave.
Okay.
I'll
Then,
find you, don't worry.
Then we will, at least I will do my best to discover that. Would it be in your interest for them to be enemies?
With you lot? He
No,
actually
he's-
says in Yathite.
Not with us. As in, would it be, in our plan, like, would it be in your interest for Ophira and Adra to be truly enemies?
I think it would actually aid you 3 more than it would aid me.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
It would also suit you to know that Farad is simply a pawn. Do not think of him any more than you would think of a ragman. With that, I bid you a good day.
Have a good evening. And I say, I have given him the name Knife in Yethite, which I will find out a good word for that. Just thinking of it for the game.
He will actually leave at this point. He'll actually snap you a militaristic like half bow, and then he'll dip out.
Okay. I'll nod.
Very formal. Is this common for that culture?
Nope.
Their culture is very well. Actually, I'll do a quick lore test real quick, so I actually know about that culture. Or to be academics.
It would be academics for you.
Okay, academics it is. Probably not
Being
a
as
ton.
you're an Ibis acolyte, it would be academics.
14.
14. They actually have a blend of the Aethite culture as well as the Ebon folk culture. They're in regards to Felport, they are far more liberal, as in women get to do more things.
Okay.
And they are more. Think of if Sir Kelsa is like Alexandria.
Okay.
The library and the lighthouse is there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they're a very well educated people. They tend to be more.
They're very Minoan in
Gotcha.
their dealings with the rest of the world.
Okay. So yeah, their people are not typically militaristic, although they do have military. Obviously, they're very cultured. And by the way, the name I gave for him was Sakim. That's the word I used for him. So,
Okay.
Keen.
yes. So, and but he's very much a long way from home. Although something that is, I'm going to do a lore test to see if I actually know this or not. Because this would be a lore, not necessarily in academics. I would think that's a 17 about Fey Iron and their reactions to things of the shadow and things of the underworld.
It would be according to most mortal superstitions that the ore of the moon or Fey Iron does indeed burn the darkness as well as evil spirits away.
Okay.
Evil spirits is
So
fancy
with,
talk for any haunting, which means
Yes.
undead.
So with the weapons he had, the dagger and that whip, I think our friend may be a definite foe to the vampires.
Oh, as an aside, the only
Mhm.
people you know of who uses a whip as a weapon are priests of Aranthar, the god of hate.
Ah, okay. That's good to know. Possible priest of Aranthar. Okay. So, do you think we can ascertain the information he asked for? I mean, it's in our interest to know that as well, but
We can certainly try. It's you're gonna have to work up your sales pitch.
yes, I would have asked Thorn to do that, but as deep in the cups as he is, I'm not sure he could pitch anything.
At
More
this
than
moment in time, there is a knock, more or less a policeman's bang on the front door of the tavern as the tavern keeper comes up, opens the door, and you actually see. I almost said Farad again. I'm sorry, it's not him. Get him! Roll initiative.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Right.
kidding. No. You
Called shot to the dome. Wham!
I'm going to hurl the toll wire across the end.
No, it's it's Tenelok there, and
Okay.
he smiles. He gives
Okay.
the tavern owner a winning, broad, fanged smile and says, "May I enter?" The tavern owner says yes and gets the
Okay.
fuck out of the way.
Okay.
He lets the vampire inside.
I'll stand. So make sure he knows where we're at. I'll nod to him. Tenelok, good to see you again.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Um,
I understand that all of your needs have been, well,
They have been.
most
Oh.
of your needs have been seen to.
Have I been able to have a bath and be cleaned a bit at this point?
We'll say
In
that
that 3 hours?
you're
Okay.
in 3 hours you've been there and back between
Okay.
those two scenes.
Okay. I'll nod. I am, by the way, slightly perfumed, because
Oh,
not like watering in your eyes, making you sneeze to walk by, but just enough to sort of cover up the usual human musk that people have, or at least
He's covering up the drunk smell off a Thorn is what's happening right now.
Probably,
yeah.
But yeah, he'll solve some nuts. I've been adequately taken care of.
He looks
Emotions
down
might.
at Thorn, who's still like staggering, trying to get up. Can you travel, friend?
Yes.
All right.
You can see him like take stock for a second.
Can I? Do I feel my legs?
Yes.
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 Well, grab your things, grab your weapons.
Okay.
I've seen him far more drunk than this, and he does just fine.
Okay, I'll make sure my, as I said.
Yeah, but I'm not planning to get my mind off the drink. So there you go.
I'll make sure that my falchion is seated properly and shield across my back. Make sure that pouch is secured.
I'll meet you all outside.
I'll help Thorn and Tane to their feet, and I'll look at both of you. Are you sure that you're okay to travel?
Sure, I'm sure.
Will you go already?
As you wish.
And she's like half going to the side every now and then.
Yeah.
I would imagine Tane just has a good buzz on. He's just,
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those things that it's going to wear off and he's just going to be pissy.
Fern mutters under his breath, and in Yethite, he can definitely travel if the road itself is windy. And he proceeds to the outside.
The tavern keeper, specifically to the drunkards of the raiding party, so you can take the drinks with you. Just go take them. They're yours.
Oh, we weren't at it. Thank you, though. You're
Unless
proud to
you
say.
wish to come back and I can keep them cool for you.
Yes, please keep mine cool.
Mm.
Thank you.
You could come
I
with
still
us.
will
and
be back.
you
I
could
still got
come
more of
with
that
us and
coin to spend. So
bring fresh refills and stuff.
I have to man the tavern. I'm sorry.
It's a
I'll
pity.
I'll
make
take
sure
that one, and I'll point to one of the barman. I'll take that one. Let's come on.
She's busy. Just be off with you. Don't keep the vampires
Come
waiting.
on, Thorn. We'll come back for her. So I'll put in a good word with her
Promise?
for you. Yes.
I don't think
I
your
promise.
tool would work the way you intend at this moment anyway.
You don't know how my tool works when I'm drunk.
Thank
Shut your
God. Thank Agiun. It's the merciful things.
You guys get out into the muddy street, which it just finished raining. It's starting to peter off about 20 minutes before you guys came out. You actually see a mob of other vampires out there. Tenelok with about 20 other individuals out there similarly dressed to him. And they all look up at you three. They kind of exchange kind of a collectively amongst them.
I'll adjust my robe as Thorn seems to have decided to go around the side of the tavern and relieve himself for a moment.
You are brought to the courtroom of Lady Adra, and she addresses you after she's clearly just woken up for a nap. She's not wearing her gown anymore. She's probably wearing a
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Okay, fantastic. Did you hear where we were, or didn't you hear anything?
No, phone disconnected me from the call for you.
Oh,
I don't know. I had to reconnect everything.
Next scene, you guys are at Adra's court. She's actually not wearing her gown, but she's wearing something that would be akin to would be the ancient world version of the exciting underthings that women would wear. Sitting in her throne, you've got 24 vampires standing behind you, and she smiles at you three.
I will smile back, specifically keep my mouth shut.
Toothless smile, right? Yes. She doesn't stand, but she kind of indicates the three of you. I trust that you've been seen to.
I'll nod to that.
She continues with, I was told that Tenelok has informed you that it seems that we have been thrust together by the fates in a most unpleasing fashion. And a rival that once I thought to be an ally in this seems to have shown her true colors and would seem to use you to plot against me.
Possibly. I look around. Fernley asked this once when I was looking around sort of at the different members of the court here. He's
Mhm.
going to actually give a confused look on his face. It's very, very obvious what he's doing, looking around like each individual who's like looking past them as if he's looking for something.
Right.
And look back over at her and sort of shake his head. And it's no consequence. He says sort of quietly.
She says it's quite a consequence here, at least
Oh.
for us.
I apologize. I was thinking something different. My mind as a scholar tends to wander as I notice details and such here and there. I apologize. Yes, you definitely are. I think that is exactly what happened. We were placed here in an attempt to goad us, a band of 3 armed individuals with a history of violence, in an attempt for us to cause you harm, possibly. Well, except for Thorn. Thorn was probably since just douche you. That is what he does.
Well, he's not much to look at in his current state, but I'm sure that
Once he has his lute tuned, it's a different affair completely.
oh, I see.
It's a good thing I wasn't trying to be a whole lot to look at then either, now is it?
And Kane is not on the horse. Just flat out.
Oh, your horse is your steed is in the stables and she has been taken care of.
Mhm.
Oh,
What I was looking for earlier, and I apologize that this is out of turn, but I noticed no children here.
No, we do not take on children here. Should the individuals that we bring here out of bondage and into my servitude, should they wish to have children when they come here, they are more than it is encouraged for them if they wish to have families and wed, and
It was very
But-
kind of you.
but
I only
children
asked.
are not taken.
I only asked because I do believe that, was it not correct? I look at Tane and Thorn that did not Ophira have some young child upon the ship that she seemed to be ecstatic to have brought aboard?
Farad had taken a liking to her.
Yes.
She
I'm
just-
actually surprised that your man, well, not surprised anymore because that was definitely when he was not loyal to you. Surprised Ramon didn't mention that to you.
I guess it's a little late now.
He didn't seem phased by it.
True. We get
Not
an
a lie.
insight check on her.
Not a lie. Yeah, premonition check on her real quick. See what that impression is on there. That's gonna be 19 for me.
Oh my. You guys are working like a well-oiled machine. I like it. Is she, with every word that you're saying, it seems like she's getting exponentially more pissed off and quiet, and her teeth are gritted at this point behind her most perfect lips, but she's trying very hard to maintain a very nice, outwardly.
I'll look at her and say, I apologize, my lady. I did not mean to cause you any offense.
I did.
Well, Tane's drunk, so. But yes, I did not mean to cause you any offense. Just I was bothered by that when I saw it, and I'm glad not to see any young ones here. I feared for the young child.
I also fear for the young child, she finally says.
I take it this is not something that is.
This is very taboo here.
Yes, that was the word I was looking for. I was trying to be politic. I didn't want to cause offense by saying it the wrong way. Yes, taboo.
So this is an affront. This is against the rules, I take it.
Very much so.
This is a long-standing rule that has been established between you clans? More than two of you?
In more than simply my fiefdom, yes. And she...
All the fiefdoms have agreed to this?
There are two that have not taken on such a oath, but that's been one of the many points of contention between our fiefdoms.
Sounds as if this Ophira has maybe thrown her lot in with them.
No, she is one of them.
Oh,
It's unfortunate that Ormond was caught in such treacherous grasps. Hanging with the enemy, if you will.
She composes herself finally, and she says, now, my spies, she shoots a look over to Tenelok, which I'm not going to make you roll for it. It's clearly a lingering eye fuck kind of look. And Tenelok just looks down at the floor in front of him. And he, after a long moment, Tenelok continues with, I was able to piece together that you three specifically were chosen and placed near Mantara in hopes that you would to rile the superstitions of the village there and weaken our position in hopes to redirect our attention away from what Ophira's people are doing.
do you fear they're moving against you in a more open way?
It'd be quite bold, especially in... He pauses. His shadow. And there's, as soon as he says the words, his shadow, it's like a pall comes over the entire room, and even the vampires just kind of shudder.
Sort of take note of that and shudder a bit myself. And I'll...
With that, I'm going to need a life force test from everybody.
Okay.
Which will be a standard die roll, your level, and your sight modifier.
Yeah. That's going to be a 13 from Fernlatus.
Oh, God, okay.
$20.
20? Okay. My God, the bard had just the carefree sing-song bard has been fortified against the darkness this entire time.
I'm too drunk to care right now.
Right? It's yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the only one who fails this time is Fernlaeus, and he takes 2 points of shadow sickness at this point, as a powerful vampiric presence is referenced. Few eyes in this room, not just the ones that are in the room, but the fact that someone wasn't necessarily name dropped, but referenced.
Someone thought about someone else.
Yeah, exactly. It's that potent.
Okay, Fernlatus does visibly shudder at this taint upon himself, and his skin takes on a bit of a gray pallor. He's only half, by the way, but still, you know, that sort of a.
What you will see though is Adra up on her seat. Actually, she uncrosses her legs
Mhm.
and she just kind of like shifts as she shudders, and she kind of like she reaches down with her right hand and she kind of takes like her gown,
Mhm.
like what would her be her nightie really, and just kind of like pulls it up. So she actually she's exposing her thigh there,
Mhm.
and you actually see
Mhm.
not physically, but almost like the indentations of like if someone was to run their hand over her thigh and just
Uh,
kind of like
the
almost
finger indentations.
kind of like not feel her up, but like caress her there,
Uh,
and she shudders at this.
okay.
And as soon as these finger indentations leave, the feeling dissipates, and everyone just like a couple of the
Okay.
vampires rub their faces, and Tenelok just goes,
And I say, as I regard myself, indeed, that would be a terrible thing to attempt to do, I think. Is there a way we can redress this taboo?
there's a few things that need to happen. First, there is a prowler in this fiefdom that we know of everything that goes on in every inch of these lands, as it is Adra's need to be mistress of this portion of country. But there is a prowler that seems to elude our gaze even once hunted.
Hmm.
He needs to be identified or dealt with or simply driven away. Second is we actually need to see where Ophira's people stand politically. If this little girl that you speak of is in the clutches of her, then I would not put much stock in saving what's left of her.
If this, you say this prowler that's in the vicinity, would it be prudent to use this prowler um, against Ophira if she is doing this? Or is this one of the ragmen you're speaking of, or is it something different?
Oh, I think this is quite worse than any ragman Ophira actually puts in.
Adra?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Adra who spoke last.
Okay. Um, so it'd be of value to you for, say, new faces that this prowler may not necessarily know, to encourage him or her to leave the area,
Perhaps.
or send it as a trained hound into the lair of those who have crossed you.
Perhaps.
I look back at my two companions, and I say, for me, I cannot speak for my companions, of course, but I would be willing to attempt this. Do you have a description?
No. That's why we know of a presence. We don't know what he looks like because he somehow moves unseen.
That would be a concern. Yes, I will I myself will pledge myself to seek this person out, information about this person, and do everything within my power to steer him in or her into the direction of your enemies, or our enemies, I should say. Because yes, I do consider Ophir to be my enemy at this point.
Adra adds that that might be a wise choice for the three of you, should you wish to leave this place intact.
That, I believe, is our greatest desire. So I'm gonna. Okay. Didn't roll very high on a deception chest on that one, because that wasn't actually my true belief at the moment for me.
What did you roll?
Let's see. That's based off of spirit. 7.
Yeah. She just she knows you're lying, but she's not going to say anything.
But yes, my friends, that would definitely be their goal. Thorn's songs need to be spread. And Tane is a creature of the plains and the open air. Both, I'm afraid, would wither under confinement of too tight, being confined too tightly. So I believe, gentlemen, I know you're with drink, but what are your thoughts?
Tane's probably sobering up by now. And if it will move us closer to removing these shackles, I'm forward for it. Thorn?
Okay.
When it was talked about that they were essentially pawns put there to try to incite war, for lack of a better term, you actually do see Thorn sober up a little bit, because on top of being duped, now he was being a fucking pawn, which just further incites his inner rage. So, I mean, he's still like 2.5 sheets to the wind, but he has a little bit of cognizancy again. And he just kind of looks at Adra and Tenelok and looks at the rest of the room, looks back at Fern and Tane, and fuck it, let's go kill him. I want this damn thing off. I want out of this fucking continent. Whatever we got to do.
I agree. We can go do what we can, although we might want to get more information about this figure before trying to just kill him, because if he's evading, he sort of motions towards Adra and Tenelok. He's evading our hosts. We might need to be a bit cautious before just going out and calling one out, if you will, yelling it from the rooftops and the tops of hills and such. We may find ourselves yelling a challenge in the front and not noticing the knife in the back.
Fern made it funny.
So
You are at this point dismissed unless you have more questions to ask of Adra. She looks a little bit more put off and uncomfortable since that whatever that entity was felt her up. She's been more and more withdrawing from this meeting.
the ants in the pants and wants to get off to the somewhere else. I look at I sort of do a bow to her and I say, I would like, if possible, to speak with Tenelok for a moment. if that would be permissible.
As she just, by all means, he is your contact for this endeavor.
Okay. Very well. Very good. Very good. He'll reach into his. At that point, he's been dismissed, so he's going to turn towards Tenlock and actually walk over towards him and pull out one of his slates and his stylus. Open it up, look at it, and leave it for a moment. Then he'll use the stylus to wipe it clean with sort of a deep sigh. He looks up against. I would very much like to get my hands on some ink in an actual book or a journal.
Would you actually like a book?
Yes, I very much would.
Where do you folk come up with such rubbish with bees and a stick? Why would you do such a thing?
Well, we do have parchment knives to reach in for the few pieces that I have, which is actually papyrus type stuff rolled up. I said, but these, it's very precious where I come from. We don't have large amounts of it lying about. So thus, I put my notes here, and then what I find to be useful, I put on actual papyrus. But yes, if I had a journal, I would not need to do that.
You might not need these tablets anymore, if that's the case.
I may keep them just as a memento of the past. I've had them for quite a few years.
I'll find you a blank journal then.
I thank you very much. But if you would, I'd like to speak with you about this presence that we'll be after. I would like to know about what has it done, how has it shown itself, if it has at all.
It's slain a few of the mortal outriders that have discovered it. It's not entirely just Mentora's people. It's Lurin and Frendel, the other two villages. About a half a dozen people of each.
Okay. Has it come after any of your kind, to your knowledge?
Not yet.
Any of the ragmen, maybe?
Oh, they're Lurin used to be almost on top of a ragman hive, but it would seem almost overnight that hive that den of devils has been cleared out. And I understand. I know that Fey iron has been used because it leaves very precise scarring.
Okay. It would take a person of considerable prowess to do that, yes?
Very.
Okay.
Either someone of the fairies or a half-breed like yourself. I know of no mortals who have reflexes like that.
Okay. Fernleas will actually, he may actually know the legend. So that's a 21 plus academics. That's a 30. So yes, he probably would know the legend. He says, "You haven't by chance seen any or heard of any hunters with large packs of hounds prowling about at night, specifically under the full moon, by chance?"
Master the Hunt? No.
Yes. Okay.
The Master of the Hunt is not welcome in these lands. He cannot enter.
So Master of the Hunt cannot enter. That is. And of course, at that, he starts to write that down and says, "Why?" He tilts his head.
That is not for you to ask.
I apologize.
Concern.
It's academic curiosity tends to cause me to ask questions regularly.
You should keep that on a tight leash. Asking too many questions to the wrong person can get you killed here.
I understand. Okay. I just wanted to possibly eliminate that from the possibilities that someone may have prayed for vengeance, and he had answered, so, or one of his minions possibly.
One can pray for vengeance all they wish in Miserine. The master of the hunt cannot enter.
Very well, very well. I'll not follow that inquiry further. I guess I'll look at my friends who, as you see, have been in the cups tonight. I probably need to let them rest at least for a bit and recover their senses. But I think we may have a path to follow to go speak with the villagers in these villages and see if they've what they've seen. Gather the information. That blank journal and some ink and a few quills might actually be of help in this.
Fair enough.
By the way, I have one other question. Do you have problems with Leshen in this area?
The people of Lurin actually used to worship a mated pair of Leshens until the one of them took a little girl that had been born to one of the farmers, and just a short while ago, these Leshen disappeared, which is very unfortunate because the people of Lurin worship them almost as if one worships Azeroth.
He takes these notes on his pad out of habit more than anything else. He says, "Thank you. I happened to hear a tale at the end earlier tonight. Someone was talking about Leshen or a legend of a Leshen somewhere nearby. So I hope that's not one of the questions I shouldn't ask."
No. Before you leave tonight, Tenelok actually has left and brought you back. He brings you 2 blank tomes and a small box of charcoal.
Okay.
Like sticks of charcoal.
Okay.
And we're talking, these are like spell book type
proper tomes. Okay. So
you see, the only 2 that are blank.
Okay. That's okay. I appreciate it. He'll put those into his, he'll sort of put those into his pouch, and he'll say, I may have to speak to someone about, actually, I may have an idea. I'll need to speak with one of the craftsmen in town, but I can possibly get a rig to carry these slung across my shoulder.
You're not going to ask where they came from?
Yes, I will then. Where do they come from?
There was once an old Arborian who was a monk who worshipped the Grey Lord here. He passed away recently. These are from his materials.
May I ask his name, or is that not allowed?
His name? Let me find you his name. His name was Anselm.
Anselm.
If it is any use to you, he was also a member of the cult of Kvalgar, the patron saint of fatigues.
Okay.
Saint Kvalgar is the patron saint of manual labor and suffering.
I'll when I do my devotions to Ibis, I'll pray to have one of his minions appear on his soul for this gift. So Yes.
Tenelok is about to leave. Well, he turns, he takes a few steps, and he turns around and he goes almost over his shoulder. I understand that your opinion of our kind, and he's actually arcing this to the group, is not a very high opinion. But let it be known to you that my heart may be as black as the underworld itself, but I can indeed be kind and reasoned with. And so can Adra's.
That I will keep in mind. Once I gather information for you, I will let you know what I know. Not rumors, mind you, actual facts. I know if any of these villages are anything like the ones around Felport, rumors fly fast and furious and carry about as much truth as a bird can carry cargo.
And with that,
Thorn almost.
Oh no, go for it.
Thorn almost says something to that comment from Tenelok. Like his mouth is almost getting ready to open, and he just shakes his head and just turns back to watch the room some more. So he bites his tongue for once.
I'll turn back to my friends once he leaves the room. Say, well, gentlemen,
you are now alone in this courtroom.
I think it's time for possibly a rest for us to recover from the drink, of course, and recover from the day, but also to put our heads together. And decide how we're going to approach this conundrum.
This is true. I mean, seems we are a lot closer to the desired item than she is aware.
Possibly. Though that is just supposition at this point. He's Fernley sort of smiles. He says, at the moment we have some circumstantial ideas of what may be being looked for. But he says that is very interesting. The fact that there are rules among them concerning children. He gets a definite look of sort of a very serious, stern look on his face, which he tends to get when he's concerned about things. He says, I have a personal dislike of people mistreating children in any way, of course. So I think it might be in, well, maybe not in our best interests per se, but in in my best desires, if you will, to point the blade of this figure towards Ophira.
Well, at least we had the answer to whether or not they're enemies or not.
They seem to be, at least if they weren't before I revealed the information to them of the child, maybe after. So there's definitely a dislike there. That dislike may be able to be nurtured and fanned into a full-on hatred, if that's what we choose to do. Or at least a means of, what are the things that Tane, that you place with a horse to tell it where to go?
The reins.
Maybe a means of, say, pulling the reins in a certain direction, if you will.
Well, I'm kind of perplexed. We cannot threaten this Sakin, and so he is not one to be trifled with. But I think that it would appear that Adra would like to do him harm. I do not think he would wish to meet with her.
I don't think so either. But the fact that she said that she would settle with having him move to a different area or be targeted to a different area gives us
Opportunity.
an opportunity. We may not necessarily be able to do serious harm to either of them, but there are other ways to get someone to do what you want them to do without using brute force.
But he might be willing to meet with her if he could learn knowledge of her.
I don't think, based on what she said, he would be interested in exposing himself like that.
Yeah, too easy.
But he might be willing to work with an intermediary, work through someone, sort of a shadow alliance, if you will. The criminals of Felport do it all the time. They can't be seen to actually be talking because their enemies might use that against them. So they use intermediaries to pass messages back and forth. That's a basic level of streetwise to give you that information. Okay. So we could find ourselves being that intermediary, being an important link in that chain, if you will, and may be able to use that chain to haul up a treasure from the deep that may result in us finding our way back to Felport soon.
Soon, not soon enough.
Never soon enough.
Never soon enough. So do you think we should look for this guy?
I think so. I think we should at least gather some information about him. I think we should probably start in that one village. Where I put that at? The village Lurin. It seems probably the juiciest place at the moment to, or possibly the most recent place that this person may have been, and see what they think of him.
Are you wanting? I think that Thorn needs a good rest. Are you talking in the morning?
I think so. Yes, I think we should probably get our rest for the evening, and then begin fresh. Yes.
That is a good plan. What do you think, Thorn? Are you thinking yet?
I've been thinking the whole time.
Thinking you need another ale?
Yes. No, in all seriousness, yes, we should probably crash for a few hours and then go to next steps here.
Yes.
So I could probably use a nightcap, to be honest with you.
Or give that poor peasant girl a nightcap.
Yes.
Oh, I'll give her a nightcap, all right.
Oh,
He's going to offer her a raise in rapid succession.
She may have information he needs.
Right?
Yeah,
Or
I gotta
not.
go pump her for information, remember?
Right? No.
Lots of pumping, no information.
Oh, right. Either way, it's
Information.
great night.
So yeah, so I guess we'll go back to our lodgings and retire for at least that's Fernlash is going to retire for the evening. He is going to open up before he actually goes to sleep. Open up that first tome, and he's going to start writing out some basic information about the area. Well, you know, the fact that Mizarine is the central city or the region we're in. The town, I forgot the town's name. What was it called? Rayburn?
Royston.
Royston. Getting on writing, sorry. So we have Royston, and then we have the outlying towns of Mintara, Lurin, and the heck did I say that one was? Rindell?
Yep.
Yep, okay. That's an R, not a P. All right, so yeah, I'll sort of write that stuff down, the fact that, you know, sort of how the structure of the town is set up and stuff like that. And, you know, sort of his thoughts at the moment. And he'll probably spend about an hour doing that before he finally basically takes himself to bed.
Mm-hmm. With that, the floor is yours, gentlemen, until really until you wish to actually get itchy feet and leave. The night will pass pretty uneventfully. You guys are given a single room with three beds, a locked door.
Can I report that because there are probably 3 rooms each, or in a room each. I'm going to let Tenlock know that.
They were going to give you one room and have the 3 of you in there. Now it's sparsely furnished. I mean, just 3 beds, a writing desk, a stool, and a small wash basin. Not the kind that you can submerge yourself in, but it's large enough for an individual. The curtains are drawn tight of this place, and you notice that the window has 2 locks on it, top and bottom, but it opens like so. And you eventually sleep soundly until the cockerel crows at the odd noon sun on the distant edge of the world.
I think we need to, at that point, once the guys wake up and we order something for breakfast, probably some bread, cheese, fruits or whatever they happen to have. I am going to go down and see if I can get the innkeeper to help me gather up some traveling supplies for a few days travel. And then I'm going to ask you, how far is the village of Lurin from here?
2 days by the road.
Okay. Then on foot or on horseback?
That's on foot.
Okay. All right. Do you know of a stable here in town that might be able to part with a couple of horses?
No, all of the horses are actually taken at this time. Only the farmers and the militia really have mounts here.
In that case, I might speak with Tenlock about possibly borrowing a couple of horses. But yes, if you could, and if it will be within the payment that's already been made, have someone gather up, say, 5 days worth of food that's good for traveling, a wheel of cheese, a couple of loaves of bread, some
you can have
some
that
fruits.
taken care of for you.
Okay, so yeah, doing my my quartermaster duties.
He will give you 5 days worth, which should give you a +1 morale bonus of the different foodstuffs that would actually give you said bonus. Once you're all set and are set to leave, Tenlock meets you at the edge of the town. He's kind of in a shadow, so to speak, so he's out of the sunlight really. He just gives you a nod. He doesn't have any briefing for you. He's more than willing to basically just let you guys go about your business.
Actually, as I see him over there, I'll walk over to him and I'll say, is there by chance any badge or any seal we might be able to have to say that we're on the business of the lady here?
If we're on the edge of war, do you really want a target painted on you?
I'm just thinking with the way we were greeted when we first arrived here, I'm just trying to smooth it over a bit so that we're not standing out in the field looking at a shepherd with a bow drawn upon us.
Speaking from experience,
Yes.
just tell them that I sent you and they should pipe down.
Thank you. So he'll shoulder his pack a little bit higher on his shoulder and head over to Tane and Thorn.
That'll stop the second volley.
Yep.
The second volley of arrows.
If you get shot after being after telling them that I sent you, then the village will be burned because that is open rebellion.
Good to know. So he'll turn in and were we able to borrow a couple of horses possibly, or we are running triple on Tane's mount?
As far as you guys are concerned, you're walking. Tane has his own mount.
Okay, good point. I guess we're gonna hoof it, as they say. All right, and start heading to, I guess, head out onto the road towards this town.
I mean, unless Tane will allow you to be 3 people on the back of one single poor horse.
We can alternate.
Okay. You ride ahead and let us know what the road ahead looks like, and we'll travel more slowly.
Well, in that case, too, she can carry our heavier items and help share the load.
Okay. In that case, I'll make sure
you could pack horse it up, and then you guys just walk.
That's true. So yeah, that would allow us to have some other basic stuff like carry some additional firewood if we need to. Of course, we already have a pot.
Did you guys take the copper bowl from your hut in the village with you?
We found it buried in the dirt, so I assume it was
it's
abandoned.
ours now.
Yeah. So yeah, I requisitioned that.
Nice.
So
okay, that's pretty funny. I like that. Thank you. But no, you guys are a few hours outside of sight of Royston when the feeling of the place, this loping plain here, kind of changes for you. There's always been this vague I'm being watched, or I'm being I suppose what the term is eavesdropping, but what is it if you have been eavesdropped upon, if you will? You're being listened to.
Spied upon.
Yeah, right. There we go. But here it's worse, and you've been advised that the highways are quite literally bandit country. And I mean, you do have a contact out here, but it's a different feeling that Knife gives off. His aura is much more calculating, and what would be the warmth of, say, like humanity and compassion is no longer there, or it's expertly hidden. This is not him. Something else is out here.
Do an awareness test so I can see anything. That's just pretty high. 25.
25? Yeah, you oh damn, I thought they were gonna sneak up on you. No, there you do see a band of bandits actually in the tall grass, kind of snaking up on you guys.
I'll Thorn.
Congratulations.
I'll sort of move my head that way and loosen my my blade up in my scabbard. Okay.
I suppose. Thorn, make me a defense test. Actually, no. Make me an awareness test. Then, if you fail, let me know. Oh shit!
What?
Just killed Thorn.
I just fucking crit. God damn it!
Yeah, I got an 18. No, so I got a 21. So.
Oh, you got a 20. Okay, so what you hear is the creak of a bow bending, and then the whoosh of of the bowstring actually being released as an arrow appears in your shoulder. We'll say this just bam, 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 bam. Your Fey ears pick this out, and we're gonna do. Oh Jesus. That right there is 7 points of vitality damage. On a crit, let's do this properly. We don't have to do it properly. We don't have to kill the bard, but you know, hey. Do you want me to roll your crit, or do you want to roll the crit yourself?
Yeah, you can roll it. Go ahead. We'll see what happens.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh my god. No. Hang on.
Did you give him a sucking chest wound?
Yeah, come on. Do it. Full force. Let's go.
Oh
Just do
Jesus.
Don't fudge anything. Come on. Do it.
I really want to fudge this because this is ridiculous. Okay, it's an arrow wound, right?
Yes.
How do you have a severed limb from an arrow?
Say it's a broken limb instead.
His nose.
Well, I mean, if you get hit like right here, and that goes clean through, that it might as well be detached.
Serious damage to the joint.
Sure. I
mean,
right
either way,
now,
it's going to be. It's going to be done.
All right.
No.
We'll see.
Primary
we'll see.
hand or secondary hand, though?
Odd or even?
Which? We'll go even.
Even. Even is dominant hand, we'll say?
Even if it's in my favor, we'll say secondary hand. That way I keep my dominant hand.
It is even, so there you go.
Okay. So through the left.
Okay, it is a through and through. Well, no, we'll say it's not a through and through. You've got an arrow sticking through the meat about 8 inches out the back and about a few here. But that left arm is it hurts to use it. You can't really do it outside of that. But anyway, reaction tests, everybody.
Okay. Looks like Dave moved away for a moment. All right.
Oh shit.
Reaction.
And crits bypass, damage suppress.
Yes.
So, Thorn was originally wearing furs and leather, I believe.
think so.
Woven fiber set. So, yeah, I think that's.
Then you're fucked.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Thorn, what's your reaction? All right. So.
Oh, sorry. I mean, on the bright side, I have a pretty high reaction. So.
God, I hope so. I know you're really hard to hit once you're like knowledgeable of the attacker.
Is it just a reaction stat modifier plus 2d8?
Yes.
Okay.
You also get a bonus from reflexes, don't you?
It's yeah, from reflexes, yes.
Okay.
It's a +1 for every 2 ranks, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I get a +3 from that.
So
Mine's
you get
wrong.
16. Oh wait, no, hang on.
Just
No,
so you know, mine's wrong.
8, 13.
So there we go. That's the correct one there, Rafe.
okay.
19 altogether.
Oh, nice. Okay. Fantastic. First combat of the session. There's 3 groups of bandits, 2 of which are flanking you. The one that you actually saw in the field, there are 6 dudes there. Not having any sort of uniform equipment to them. A couple of them have the bronze swords, wooden shields, that sort of thing. There is one of the flanking groups behind you is the one who laid into Thorn, and
I got a quick question about that. Did that hit me from the back or from the front?
From the back, so the arrowhead's actually sticking out. You can see it.
Okay, but it would have missed the shield hanging there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He got very,
Right.
very lucky.
That 1 in a million
Right.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
He initially had a bead on your head, but you moved, so he got you in the shoulder. Now, the first group of bandits is actually going to open up and close with Fern and Tane here. Not any disciplined fashion, but a couple of them with their falchions and a couple maces. I've got an 11 to on attack for Fern, and I have a 14 on an attack for Tane.
Yeah, I have a 17 for my defense.
A 17. Okay. You can. And for Tane, what do we got?
I have a 14 defense, so he met it.
Okay. Ties go to the defender. So you guys can describe how you fend off these savage blows. Go for it.
Let Tane go first.
I would imagine as they're rushing in, he sees this arrow spurt from Thorn's shoulder, and his eyes just widen as he just grits his teeth. And you can see his gums, they're almost blood red for some reason. And he turns around and just draws his sword and basically hacks up and barely moves the weapon out of the way as he goes to reach for his hand axe, avoiding narrowly deflecting the shot.
Yeah, for Fern, he had, as soon as he recognized there was something there, he had started getting his shield in position. When the fellow comes charging up, he turns, ripping his falchion out of his scabbard, and he raises the shield and angles it so that the blow comes down and grazes across the face of the shield instead of into himself.
All right. With that, Thorn is the next to act. Let's hear it, man.
All right. So he's kind of going to sit there for a fraction of a second and try to move the arm and say, no, that's not going to fucking work. So unfortunately, the way he has his shield was meant to be grabbed with his offhand. So can't get to it as easily. So the only thing he basically can do at the moment is he's going to grab one of the bone daggers from inside and fling it at the closest brigand that he has around him.
There is a mob of brigands assailing your friends ahead of you. Target-rich environment. Go for it, man.
Is there a penalty for fire for throwing in the melee?
Hey, Keith, we never did that.
Well, it is a target-rich environment, so
Do a -2.
Yeah,
So,
just do -2. -2 for now.
that's a pretty good
All right.
basic.
So,
Oh yeah.
actually, can I see the one that shot me?
You'd have to turn around to see him, but yes,
Okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
it's not going to take you much to turn around. He's standing
Oh.
there with his bow.
This is bow up and going. Yeah,
all
I
right,
will
he's
actually.
going for another arrow.
I will actually grab, twist, and just let it fly.
Oh,
So what is it for combat again? 2d8.
It's 2d8. For you, it's physique.
Which I don't get anything from anyway. So
I believe you also get +1 for every four ranks you have in the weapon, right?
Yes.
so that's going to be an 18.
That's gonna hit him. Roll damage, man. Keep in mind, damage dice does explode.
The -2 due to it being bone. That's just a 2d8 again, or is it just 1d8?
Damage is 1d8, but it explodes, so you can obviously do way more. Oh shit!
11.
11 points of damage.
Nice.
Really? Oh damn.
Yeah.
You can describe for us how you slay him outright.
Yeah.
Lands
So
in his throat.
probably. So yeah, essentially he tries moving his arm because his brain's kind of clicking into combat mode. And that's not gonna fucking work. Where the hell is this son of a bitch? And pull out the bone dagger, and like in one fluid motion, I'll be like, that's not gonna fucking work. Pull it and just let it fly, and like stare the guy in the eyes as he sees this thing just let go beautifully from his grip. Like you get like that perfect shot when you throw something, you just know it's gonna go where you want it to. He just looks at him.
Like
And
you're
it just
done.
sinks.
Wow.
It just sinks like right here, just probably to the hilt.
Oh,
Boom.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, he topples in back. He disappears into the tall grass there. The next to act, actually, we have two groups going at this time. Tane, what is Tane's physique modifier? Or actually, not his physique, his reaction modifier.
reaction modifier is +7.
The stat, not your reflexes.
Okay,
Just
+1.
reaction. Just +1. Okay, the bandits are going to go first for this round. Oh, technically, you guys are going to go at the same time, but they're acting first.
Gotcha.
You've got 2 attacks coming your way with a battle axe, as well as someone is trying to put a rather filthy, pitted bronze dagger into your side. 2 attacks, one for 14, one for 17.
The 17's gonna crest my armor class enough. Or is it damage? Yeah. See it correction. 1 hit.
Don't you roll that?
You got to roll 2 defense tests, man.
My bad.
That's okay.
We're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. We don't get with that stock and
No.
stagnant crap.
That's just 2d8 plus your defense, right?
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
it's 2d8 plus your cunning modifier plus any additional things. See if you got a forte in it or not.
So reflexes is not this, and it's the other one.
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. So 9 on the first one, and 15 on the second one. So.
Oh, we've got 2 attacks coming in then. All right. Damn, minimum damage for 3 and shit. So 8 damage total this round.
Okay.
You can describe for us how they lay into you with their their horrid bandit weapons.
So Tane is actually he's still gritting his teeth and growling, gripping both of his weapons, but he's been looking between Amorous and the enemy because he's concerned about and distracted by the wound that he has and worried for him. And in doing so, he just turns at the last second and is basically dead to rights as both these shots just come in, and he's unable to, or one of them doesn't connect, but the other is clean through. So
it is your turn, by the way, so you can retaliate if you wish. God, I hope.
I'm gonna rise up, like, and my eyes come up, and I just open my mouth and just strike down both, because he's in mid-swing with both his arms down, and I'm just gonna hack down on his shoulders with both attacks.
Okay. That is 2 attacks there.
All right, so the broadsword is going to do.
What is this? What are the attacks here? But
The broadsword, yeah, I'm getting a total number here.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 24 on the longsword.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna blast through his defense. He got a 7.
And 19 for the axe.
19 for the axe. Okay. Son of a bitch. You're gonna get 3 dispatch bonuses for each of those attacks there. So roll damage individually and then add 3 to them. Mind you, keep in mind damage is again 1d8, your physique modifier, and then dispatch damage is always +1.
So the first attack is 4 points total. So with a dispatch, you said on the first one?
Yeah, dispatch is +3 for you.
So it'd be 7 on that one. So
Plus your physique modifier?
yeah, I rolled a 2 plus 2
okay.
is not, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that one is hand axe is a 9 total, and that one didn't get the +3, right? Because it was.
No, you get dispatch for both attacks.
All right, so that one was right, 9, 12 points.
Yeah, you're gonna slay them both outright. So you can describe that for us as they go down in a shower of blood.
So as he's screaming, he just raises up and just hacks down on it, and he embeds his sword into one shoulder, but the axe, he didn't hit as well, but he was able to mangle through the shoulder blade. And he just kind of grins at him and says, "Malgor, I take you." And he just shoves him off of him like that, and then just roars at the rest of them like, "Bring it!" And it's like his eyes right now, his oculars are almost blackened from the shadow that's coursing through his veins. And he's feeling the energy of just killing someone.
Beautiful. Fern, you're up.
All right, so for my first attack,
You have 2 guys remaining here.
well, I have 2 attacks. So
Fantastic.
the first attack with that one is going to be a 24.
Nice. There's going to be some fat dispatch going in there here soon. We hope.
That one's not quite as much. That one is a 17.
Okay.
The second one is 17.
First attack, you will have 3 dispatch bonus, and second attack you'll have 2.
All right. So that's 9 on the first attack.
Damage?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Rolled crappy. And then 13 on the second.
Yeah, so again, those guys, they're pretty flimsy here. Within a few seconds, you've slain 5
Okay.
individuals. You can describe that for us if you like.
So what he does is that with his defense, he had raised his shield up at an angle to allow the blow to glance off. He actually whips his sword around from the left because he is left-handed. Draws the blade across that attacker's midsection, and following the curve, he spins, and of course that causes his robe to flare out a bit as he comes around and actually takes the. He basically rises up with his spin and takes the second fellow directly across the throat, almost beheading him, but not quite.
Nice. With that, we're back to the top with Thorn because one of the groups of bandits has actually been slain outright, and the other one actually turns chicken and lily-livered and runs the fuck off. Thorn, you got some cowards. Kill them.
So one's trying to run and one's standing their ground.
There are 2 individuals standing their ground. The other 4 are running off.
4 of them. Okay.
So 6 individuals total that you could hit if you so chose.
Yeah, I'll try to hit one of the guys run away. Are they in front of me or behind me?
Well, you've turned to attack them, so they're in front of you. Your back is to your allies.
So yeah, I will try to sink one of my bronze daggers into one of the cowards.
All right. Get him! Get him! For an attack. How is it? Oh, fuck. Keith, you remember when I was saying I was going to roll like fucking garbage in the next game that I run when we were playing in Barsoom? Yeah,
Nah.
Shit.
20 to hit.
All right. That's 4 on dispatch. He's got a measly fat 7 on his defense. Pretty sure you're gonna murder this guy. 90. God, really, dude? Stop rolling.
Yeah, that's a 17.
For damage?
8 and a 5 and then +4.
Oh, fuck you. He's dead, and the guy in front of him is dead, we'll say.
Oh, so it actually goes through and through?
With the damage like that, it's hard not to turn someone into, like, aerosolized mist.
Well, especially with it being a bronze dagger versus the bone one, too, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, once again, because he has them all, like, in his, like, breast pocket of his, his overshirt and stuff, so he kind of just gets them off the string and flings one out. Yeah, he'll actually put this one between the shoulder blades.
Ugh.
So as it exits out the first guy, it actually pierces almost through the sternum. And just due to trajectory, gravity, and going through the first body, it will actually puncture the second guy right below the ribcage.
Nice. So they both topple in a heap. The other 2 combatants, we come back to Tane for this one. These 2 guys are kind of holding their ground, or they're trying to hold their ground, but they're pretty afraid of the 3 of you.
I think I'm smelling something coming off of you. Is that shit?
One of these guys hurls his hand axe at you for a 10.
Just catch it and throw it back at him. It's okay.
Just if Dave wants to.
Well, you said a 10?
A 10 for his attack.
Okay, and my defense roll is going to be 15.
Yeah. So the thing goes sailing past you, and hopefully does not hit Fernaleus, as he is in this orientation behind you now.
Shall I roll a defense test?
You probably should. By the way, is Fernelius, his shield is bronze or it's made of wood?
It's wood.
It's wood, okay.
So that is going to be an 18 for his defense.
Yeah, so this thing's just gonna thunk deep into your shield. Pretty easy. Tane, still your turn, man.
So he is far. I'd have to move to engage to him.
Oh yeah, it's just a few steps up, but he's pulling a dagger off of his belt as you're doing that.
Okay, so I'm going to step up and lean in and flinch, and then just laugh and basically go to attack.
Okay.
$13 long blades. 19 for the broadsword.
Oh shit. There is some devilish competency in this guy, and he gets a 22 on his defense as your broadsword bangs off of his shield. Go for the second attack there.
16 on the axe attack.
Oh, that's gonna get through. That is definitely gonna get through. So he raises his shield, but he exposes himself, of course. Roll damage.
Okay.
Get him. Get him.
So I went over his defense, which means that I get raises in that, right?
Yep. For every 3 points, it's dispatch. So, what did you get?
For the axe, it was a 16 to hit, right? No,
Yeah.
19. Something like that.
19. Yeah, that's 2 dispatch then.
Okay. So 5, 7, 9 points of damage.
Yeah, you're going to disembowel him right there then.
I'd like to think that I went for the strike with the sword against his was going for like a flat snap basically to the side of his head. He caught that one, and then I just kind of like did a quick spin of the axe, and I took the back end of it and just smacked him right across the jaw, and you see his jaw just disconnect as he goes tumbling away with it.
Awesome. That's rather grim. Wonderful. His buddy, however, he wets himself and he runs off into the tall grass there. They're gonna have no more to deal with you.
Should we chase him?
Fernelius starts to and stops, and he does this weird thing where he licks his blade. Just almost absently. It's like this. It's just
his own blade.
looks
Come
on. I was going to have him be a messenger for me and carry my thanks to Anselm, the Arborian. Oh, and he reaches and pulls out a cloth and actually cleans his blade at that point.
I'm assuming the two that ran when I attacked are too far away to attack again.
Let them run.
You'd have an additional -2 at this point for the long shot of it. You can probably lob a dagger and then have it.
You know what? He's kind of still pissed off that his arms fucking. Yes, he is a silent songbird, but now he can't play even if he wanted to.
Get him, Mike. Get him.
Oh, that was so close. 8 and a 7.
Explode the 8, man. Explode it. Come on. Roll again.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Fuck. Oh, all right. I just got
16.
Oh.
27.
Oh my god. I think a 14 beats you. Just so I can be a dick.
Yeah.
So
Do I need to roll damage at this point? I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, no. At this point, you're attacking from high ground. You get an additional point of damage. Roll damage, and then that's 1, 2, 3. That's 5 dispatch on him, so 5 additional points of damage.
That was at 12 total.
Oh fuck. Yeah. You kill one of those guys at long range. You lob this dagger up, and
I literally just lobbed that submit and just watch it just for ironic satisfaction. I will actually have it plunk right into his left shoulder,
yes.
and just like the arc would make it just go inward, so it kind of hits his shoulder and like connects it to his neck.
Nice. Yeah. It finds his spinal column, and he into the mud.
Not even worrying about his arm, but as soon as they are done with combat, he will go and fetch his knives,
What
as well as any other loot.
What knife did you use?
It was
the long shot with.
It was a bronze dagger on the long shot.
Okay.
Those are good daggers, so.
Why don't you just keep watch for a moment? We'll draw them in. That you're losing blood.
Yes.
That is a serious wound.
Yes, I'll attend to your daggers and bring back what you killed. So
It'll take for a while. He's got to drag a body across the cornfield, basically.
actually, let me do a check here real quick, a physique check. Because that's a physique check of a 16. I can probably just pick him up, throw him on my shoulder.
Poor bastard goes on your shoulder.
Yeah, I've got a physique of 10, so.
Oh, so yeah, he's not weak.
Yeah, he's not a weak guy. As I said, he's not big, but he's corded. So
Okay.
So he throws the guy
Meanwhile,
across.
Thor's over here at half health, so.
Yeah,
Right.
So yeah, he throws across his shoulder, makes sure the dagger's in place, and brings him back and starts bringing the bodies in, like laying them out.
How much? How many vitality points does Thorn have left? -1 for obvious.
I'm at well, after the attack I was at 6 out of 13. So it was 7 points of damage.
Right.
So if I went down another 1, I'm at 5.
Oh fuck. Okay. So yeah, you're bloodied at this point. Okay. He's looking real bad, guys. Like.
So,
Ooh.
yeah, I'm going to then, as I see Fern just gives me the nod, I just start. I sit for a moment, and I just begin talking to him. He's like, I was saying before that how horses can fly, and they make you feel like they give you wings, and then I snap it off, and you feel that quick jolt. And he just continues to talk, and he reaches around his back and just sort of massages. He's feeling around with the apothecary and stuff, and he's like, the reason for that is that there are points in time during the gallop when all 4 hooves are off the ground, and they are indeed floating or flying. And he yanks the air out of the back of the other side. I got a total of a 20 for apothecary.
Yeah, amazing. That actually kind of feels not near as bad as you'd think, Thorin, honestly. Your companion clearly has the hands of a healer. However, he is still bleeding. Did you prepare your prepare a poultice to stabilize him?
Yeah, I started with that as I was speaking to him and stuff, and getting him distracted by the story that I was telling him.
You know that takes a day, right?
He had prepared some back when we were in the village, actually, as I recall. That's why he was primarily doing it. We were doing everything else.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because he did a wild lore. He had enough for a couple to make again.
Okay.
Way back in the village.
So you have 2. All right. There you go. We have to be
So I
mindful
apply
of that. So yeah, you can stabilize Thorn at 5 vitality right now. That means you can stabilize 1 additional person until you take another day to prepare more medicine for it. Now, the floor is yours. We're going to go ahead and close the session while you guys are looting the bodies and policing them. in your soliloquies, we'll do that. Tane, take us away quick.
So Tane is just finished with Thorn and probably left some residual thorns inside Thorn, but sometimes you just can't help that with an arrow shaft. But he settles down. He goes over to his mare and kind of gives her some checks and still looks into her just empty eyes as she is still not connecting with him. And he just looks down at the ground and thinks for a moment, and then he starts walking over to the pack and starts rummaging through as he's looking for something, and like he can't find it. And he stops and he just shakes his head and reaches over and he pulls his thing down and he just kneels down and he begins inspecting the wound. But he kind of gets lost in the thought of the blood that he's seen coming out of his side for a moment, and the blood over the black. And he's kind of lost for the moment, thinking about where he is at and how far he's come. And so then he just goes ahead and continues. For a moment, he's pushing back bad memories as he looks up to the sky and nods and says, I might not make it to the next dawn, but if so, I will continue to praise you. You are my rock, Agian. And he looks over at his mare and then sort of, gets lost in dealing with the wounds at the moment.
Thorn, let's see what is in his mind in these quiet moments.
All right, so the adrenaline kind of wears off from the battle, and the actual pain from being shot, actually settles in, and he's actually kind of frozen for a few moments, as if, his body's just still trying to register everything. When Tane did the story and ripped out the arrow, he actually barely registered. That's also because he was still super hyped up on adrenaline at the time, but he kind of looks at it like almost in bewilderment, like, I really have a freaking hole in my arm right now? What the hell's going on? And he'll look to Tane and he'll say his thanks. He'll see that Tane's injured and he'll ask if he can do anything to help him out, helping to take care of him. But if Tane doesn't need the help, or after they help, he will go and begin looting the bodies. He will retrieve his daggers first. He will then take any other daggers that they had on them. And then, after that, it's kind of taking stock of what they had, if he can upgrade his armor or something. But yeah, basically, he's going to do the generic combat route of help out his buddies and then loot the bodies for everything that they're worth. So
Fair. Well done. We'll go to Fernaleus here.
So Fernaleus is he's both shocked and a bit scared about his actions there at the end of that combat. We licked his blade. It was a subconscious thing he did, but it's something he's never actually done before. And if he feels like being around all of these vampires is sort of changing his outlook a little bit. But as he goes out and grabs that one body and brings it back, he lays it out on the side of the road and begins, while Tane is tending to Thorn, he'll gather the bodies together and line them up. What he's doing is he's dividing them up into who killed who and sort of making them in little groups. And once he does that, the two that he slew, he'll basically take anything of value off of them, cross their arms, they'll cut on their chests, and then he's going to get into his pack, and he pulls out one of his few pieces of papyrus, and he sort of sighs, and he tears off a corner of it, and he sits down and pulls out his ink in his quill, and he writes in the writing of the Yethites, to the Grey Lord, please pass on my thanks for the tomes to Anselm the Arborian, member of the cult of
Kavulgar.
Kavulgar. Yeah, I couldn't pronounce it in my own writing there. For the blank tomes, he'll fold that up and open one of the mouths of one of the dead and put the parchment into his mouth and close it. Then he'll say a little prayer to Ebus to make this knowledge known to the Grey Lord, and he'll turn and gather the few things that he gathered from these fellows and take it over to the side and sit down, and while his companions are doing their thing, he'll go through it the entire time, going through his mind. At that blood, that blade tasted delicious, to the point his mouth is actually currently watering. He takes a swig from his flask that he keeps, but that blood just doesn't quite have the same tang to it. But he still goes through whatever's there and tries to take his mind off of this both fear and pleasure that he's feeling at the moment.
And with that, you police the bodies and kind of get them, I suppose, set up, like tucked in, so to speak, to send them on their way to the afterlife. As a number of you are superstitious enough to do so, I will send the party quartermaster a full list of what they had on them. With that, we will close the session. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week. And I didn't get to kill anybody. God, just my dice hate me. It's fine.
Sorry.
Good night, all.
Good night. All right.